Hey, everybody. Hi. Okay, so we're hopping on just a few minutes early. It's okay if you're still settling in or you're just getting to us there. Mute, please. We always like to do extra tests a few minutes beforehand because technology has a way of always messing up, right? Okay, so I hope you don't mind my Superman look today. I've had a lot of computer time, and these are my Blu-ray blocker glasses to help with all the screen time. So it is me. I'm just, in disguise. Okay, so I wanted to cover, just going to give you a brief introduction to what we're covering in the next 60 minutes or so. So you kind of have a roadmap of where we're going. Because if you're like me, you're kind of like, I'm type A. So I'm like, where are we going? Where is this going? I want to know what I want to stay around for. So I'm going to first, now that we're on just a few minutes early, I'm just going to cover real quick a few places that everyone needs to know how to get to before the event starts Monday. That way, if you're wondering where FAQs are, you're wondering where the schedule is, all that stuff, I'm just going to point you to that real quick so that no one's feeling lost. And if you see someone who's lost, you can always point them back to this video, and it'll be super helpful that way. After that, I am going to cover how to upload an SVG file and a PNG image-based file to Cricut Design Space. This is super crucial because during the week of the event, even if you have the VIP pass and have already been practicing in that, you're going to need to know how to download the files to get them into Design Space to be able to create our crafts, right? So I'm going to cover that. And then I have a list of some questions that I've been receiving on social media, a few I took from my inbox, a few other suggestions that were made to me that I'm just going to cover some things directly asked from my community to try and help out that way. And I will try to get to as many as I can. And I think there was one other thing that I was going to do, but I can't remember what it is now. So we'll figure that out as we go. And oh, yes, that's what it was. I will be pausing to check comments at certain times. When I'm in the middle of teaching something, I like to try and see it through to the end, but I'm not ignoring you. I do pause at times. I go back. My husband's over here monitoring comments. You'll also see my lovely executive assistant, Susan, in there. She's always dropping in helpful links and answers to things. So we're not ignoring you. We're just trying to keep the flow. And I will go back and check if there's a specific question I need to address. I will do my best to get as many answered as possible. Okay, so let's go ahead and just cover really quickly what next week is going to look like and where you can find the most important links, because we need to know how to get around, right? So we can get the most out of the event. So in case you happen to be tuning in and you just happened to cross this, you have no idea who I am Abby from Abby Kirsten Collections. I'm the creator and owner of Abby Kirsten Collections, but I am also the creator and hostess of the Cricut Craftfest events. This is our third Cricut Craftfest event, so I am super excited that my community has taken to loving them so much. We have some incredible speakers who have continued to work with us, and I am just so excited and thankful that they want to continue to make this event wonderful, because I couldn't do it without them. So if you haven't yet heard of the Cricut Craft Fest, there's your quick introduction to it. It's all about learning how to master your Cricut machine, craft with confidence. If you haven't got your free ticket yet, I want you to go to CricutCraftfest.com, which is where we're going to go right now. And I'm going to walk you through some of the most important pages you need to be aware of, and then we'll dive into the more specific Design Space tutorials to make sure you all are confident. Okay, so let me share my screen real quick. And it's going to look funny for like 2 seconds. I want to make sure it looks right. There we go. Okay. So checking real quick that you guys can still hear and see me. Still good, babe? Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is CricutCraftfest.com. Most of you probably are already familiar with it because I told you about this live today with this. But if you haven't got your ticket yet, go ahead and visit that link, CricutCraftfest.com, and get your free ticket. A couple things here at the top you'll see when you log on to that page is our schedule link, FAQs. You can meet each of our speakers and learn more about them. We have some incredible speakers in there. You can learn more about our amazing sponsors, which I'm going to tell you more about also in a minute. And we have over 37 giveaways happening at this event as well. So much stuff there to go through, and so much goodness to pick up on, so many freebies and chances to win things. So super exciting. So if you need to know what the schedule is, starting Monday, just come to the schedule page here. Super easy, cricketcraftfest.com/schedule will take you right there. Now, all times are in Eastern time zone, but everything is available for 24 hours, guys. So it doesn't matter if it's night for me or day for you. We all get the same 24 hours in a day, right? So if you are watching something when I'm technically asleep, that's perfectly fine. You still get the same 24-hour period, but things will open and close at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for me, since that's where I'm located. But again, full 24-hour period for everyone to watch, okay? We have our supply lists linked here if you want to get those ahead of time. We have a handy planner for this event also. You're welcome to download. And then we have links to each of these workshops, which you won't be able to view until those designated times, of course. But you might want to come in here and take a look at the schedule, plan out what you don't want to miss. We have the name of each of the workshops here. And then you can also learn more about our speakers too. So you'll see all of our lovely speakers here. But if you head over to the Meet the Speakers page at the top of the menu there, you can learn a little bit more about me, but then you can also learn more about each of our speakers and gives a little bit of background about them. You guys can follow them, give them some support here. So make sure you check out that as well. Now, if at any point in time during the event you have a question, something's not working, you don't know where to find something, I would strongly advise you visit that FAQ page that we've put together here. If there's a question we get a lot of, then I usually will add it into the FAQs here to try and help. So there is plenty of FAQs right here. And then I also have additional videos outside of what we're doing today on how to upload your files here via desktop and via mobile. So I'm trying to be very thorough. That way you guys can come back, review what you need to, and not feel too lost. There is a contact button right here. If you guys need to contact us, feel free. We get lots of messages and we're working through them as quickly as possible. We pride ourselves to try and get back to everyone as soon as possible, and we're happy to help you. I'm going to take a breath for just a second there and see if we have any other specific questions that I need to address, and then we'll continue. You got anything specific you've noticed, honey?
Going to right now.
Oops. Good.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any big.
All right, doesn't seem to be any major questions to address there. If we missed one, we'll go back in and we'll make sure we get to you. We're not trying to ignore you. I'm going to go ahead and keep continuing here so we can work our way towards the actual tutorial for today, okay? I do want to bring to your attention our amazing sponsors. Make sure you check out that sponsor page. You don't want to miss it because they are offering exclusive discounts on a lot of their products, things that you can't get anywhere else, discounts you can't get anywhere else, okay? So these are amazing sponsors: Create Room, 12 by 12 cardstock shop, which I absolutely love, Creative Fabrica, which I know many of you probably already know about because I've talked about it a lot, but they're giving away 10 free designs for their trial right now. So if you just want to grab some freebies, you got to come over to the sponsor page here, okay? And then we have Paper Planner Club, which is Mim. I love Mim. She's amazing. She is the queen of planner stickers. She has so much good information here. She's got discounts for you in addition to a free class on how to make your own stickers. So lots of goodies here on our sponsor page as well. So make sure you check that out. It's just cricketcraftfest.com/sponsors. And then the last page I just want you all to be aware of here is the giveaway page. So these started on January 30th, and we have 37 giveaways happening here, giveaways from our sponsors, and tons of giveaways from our amazing speakers. There is something for everyone here for sure. So if you haven't entered for these yet, make sure you come over and check them out. They are all marked as far as if they're international or US based or Canadian based only. We have more international options than we do not. A lot of these are digital things like crafting memberships, gift cards, that kind of stuff. So even if you're in another country, there's going to be plenty of things for you to check out there on that giveaway page. There is lots of goodies there, okay? So that in a nutshell is how you can get around and find the most important information on Cricut Craft Fest right now so that you're prepared for Monday when things kick off, all right? Now I want to talk about, actually, I'm going to pause again and check comments real quick, and then I'm going to dive into Design Space more, okay? So I'm going to do a quick pause here and come back over. And I'm just going to scroll through some comments because we have quite a few. We have 3 people checking comments right now, so I'm trying not to miss anybody.
So there's a
Mhm.
craft supply list question. Just
Where to find them? Where to find craft supplies? Okay, that's a good question. Let me review that one more time. I think I showed that, but I may have not been specific enough. Let me add my screen back in here. And nope, not that one, this one. If you go to the schedule page, so just go to cricketcraftfest.com/schedule. There's a button right here that will take you to the supply list. So if you click on that, it's just going to open up our supply list page here, and it's got links for everything online, but it also has a printable supply list. So if you're someone who really likes to print things out and have it handy, then feel free to, click and print out all of those supply lists. You can download them here, and we've got all of that available for you. And then, like I said, online resources here, it's broken down by day. And you just click one of these little plus symbols and it'll open it up, and you can click through any of these supply lists here for that particular workshop to find recommended supplies for that workshop. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. If you have other questions on that, please let us know. We try to make it easy to find. I'm going to check one more time the comments before I move into design space.
Looks like there's a question about rewatching the video and accessing previous Craftfest through maybe some confusion of purchasing one Craftfest giving you access to
Okay.
another.
Yeah. So as far as how the actual event works for the week of the event, so the February 6th through the 10th, you will have access to the videos for 24 hours. After that, they will be only available to rewatch in the VIP Access Pass, the 2023 February VIP Access Pass. Every single event that we create is unique. Our speakers make brand new videos every time, brand new content. We rebuild all the pages. We do all of the printables again. We rebuild the entire site. So every event is unique. And just like any in-person event, every event requires its own pass. Just like if you were to, go to Disney for a day and you bought a pass and you want to go back to Disney, if you don't have an annual, of course, you go back to Disney the next year, you would buy a pass for that day. So it's the same concept for VIP Pass. And we do put that in our terms and conditions and our FAQs. We try to make that very clear. But if you have other questions about it, please let us know. But as far as rewatching the videos would fall into owning the VIP Access Pass. And if you're someone who's like, well, how do I get that? I want that right now. Just go to cricketcraftfest.com, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see a link for VIP Pass here. And you can pick it up right there, okay? Now, this price is going to increase when the event ends, so I always tell people, get it now so you can save your money, because we discount it heavily before the event because there is just so much content inside of this. We heavily discount it initially, and then we sort of raise the price to match its value later on. Actually, I just realized I didn't have my screen on there. Let me show you again real quick. I'll go to... All right, if you're looking for the VIP pass, go to cricketcraftfest.com and then just click at the bottom in the footer menu. You'll find a link to it. And I'm sure someone who's watching right now who's aiding me is probably dropping the link in the comments for you. So if you're looking for that, you'll be able to find it. Don't worry about that. Okay, so I think I've got some of the initial questions out of the way. I am going to move into design space now, and I'm also going to address how we access like the speaker pages for each day and what a speaker page looks like, so you don't feel lost at all, okay? I try to make sure no one's feeling lost during the event. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again, and I'm gonna walk you through that, and then we're gonna go into design space. Okie dokie. All right, so let me close out some of these tabs over here. Okay, so how does it work when you wake up and it's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you are? How does it work when you want to get to the speaker pages that day to watch these workshops? You're going to get an email from me. It's going to say Abby Kirsten. It's going to be from Abby Kirsten. That's me, the hostess of the event. Please make sure you check promo and spam folders. Usually they all go where they should, but we know technology can sometimes have its own way of things. So make sure you check all those folders. Now, the only reason you wouldn't receive this is if you chose to unsubscribe from any of our previous emails. We legally cannot continue to send you emails if you've unsubscribed from us. So just make sure that you haven't done that. If you're not sure, maybe resubscribe or reach out to us and we can check. That's the only reasons why you wouldn't see it in your primary. Okay. Additionally, you can revisit the schedule page on Cricut Craftfest, and we also link each day there for that 24-hour period. So that's another way to find those links as well. If for whatever reason your email's cluttered or you just can't find it in your email, you can always fall back on that also by coming to the schedule page. So here is a preview of what one of our speaker pages look like. This is mine, and I'm going to be showing you two for the purpose of showing you how to upload an SVG and also how to upload an image-based file in Design Space, because they're each slightly different, and I want everyone to feel confident, okay? So here's my speaker page. I'm going to be teaching how to make a paper primrose floral wreath. Super great beginner flower craft, even a just beginner Cricut craft in general. I hope you guys will enjoy it. But here's what this is going to look like. You'll have the title at the top. We have FAQs here, which is also where you can contact us if you need help. The video will be present right here. You just click the play button to go ahead and get started. You can rewind it and rewatch it as much as you want in that 24-hour period. There is also closed captions, which we provide for your convenience. If you want them off, just click that CC button and turn them off, and you don't have to have them on, okay? So it's optional. So below our video here, we have our click to download the templates, supply list, and worksheet. So this is the button that is going to be most clicked on every single speaker page because that's where you're going to want to go to grab those templates and that printable supply list. Plus, we have created worksheets this time around. We got some requests for that at our last event. So I wanted to take things one step further and get printable worksheets, which is super, super great to grab, because even if you can't, rewatch this or whatever as many times as you would like, the worksheet can kind of help you with the craft as well. Okay. So while it won't show you the video, it will remind you of like some of the generalized steps to get you through making that craft. So if we click on that, it's going to take you to a folder. Now it's not going to look exactly like this because we're in my Google Drive, but you will see the same options to download here, as far as here's my worksheet, here's the file, here is this printable supply list. And every speaker has their own link like that. And their folders are going to look different. So there are speakers who have 3 and 4 and 5 SVG files for one project to make. So just make sure you're downloading it in its entirety. If you're on a desktop, I highly recommend just coming to like the top and clicking download here. So I just clicked the top of the name of the folder, and then you can download the entire folder. Now it will download as a zip file, so you will need to double click to unzip or right click and hit extract all to unzip it. If you're not confident in that, or you're on a mobile device, just come to any one of these, right click and download. Okay, so I'm actually going to do that right now because I want to show you how to download and then how to upload to Cricut. Okay, so I'm going to right click on my SVG file. I'm going to click the download option. Alternatively, if you land right on the file like this, there's usually a download arrow at the top as well, or sometimes if you click the 3 dots, it might be there. Okay, so multiple ways to get to the same thing. In general, I usually like to right click and hit download. One other note I want to say about this is this preview here. Do not judge the file by the preview, okay? This is very pixelated, and this is just Google Drive's preview of it. It is not actually a reflection of what the final file looks like. There are even files that may look like they're cut off, and they're not. Once you bring them into Design Space, they're fully there. This is just a preview, and that happens a lot with Google Drive, but it doesn't actually affect the file. It just affects the preview of the file. So we're going to go ahead and download this. You want to make sure you save this to a location that you remember to go back to, right? Because we want to be able to return to our templates as much as possible. So I suggest a folder on your computer, your desktop, wherever it is you want to put that, or it might go to the downloads folder automatically. So check that out there. For good measure, I'm just going to create a folder that says Craftfest templates, and we're going to hit create. And most of the files are already fairly well named, so you can just save it as is. And I'm just going to click save, and it's going to download. Now, it can be tempting to just double click in the downloads bar and open this, and you're going to see a preview here. But we're still in Chrome. We're not, or in your browser. We're not in Design Space yet. So there's really no purpose in double clicking that download. What we need to do is we need to navigate to Cricut Design Space and then bring the file in from our file finder on our computer, okay? And if you're doing all this on a mobile device, I have on that FAQ page I showed earlier, there is a video tutorial that walks through that as well, but it's a little hard to do mobile stuff when I'm sharing like this. So we're doing it from a desktop perspective or laptop or computer perspective. So let's head over to Design Space. And I'm going to take a breath for 2 seconds here and see if there's any other questions that I need to address before I go any further. Do we have any other major things that need addressed right away, honey? Did I forget something?
Just looking, I don't think so. We're getting most of the questions answered in the chat.
Okay. All right. Awesome. We're going to keep going then. Okay. So if you have never opened Design Space before, that's okay. I'm going to walk you through from the beginning. So if you need to download Design Space, you need to go to design.cricut.com. Let me shoot back over real quick here. So design.cricut.com. And you'll need to download the Design Space there. It's very much just like any other program you would download on your computer. Agree to the terms and conditions, hit download, follow the prompts to install it on your computer, okay? So that's where you need to go in case you have not actually installed this yet on your device. Once you are in, it's gonna ask you to create a password or login. So you would follow just the general process of email and password setup. And then it's gonna present you with a home screen here. And then what we want to know is we want to know how do we get to the canvas, which is the working area, and how do we upload? So there's 2 ways you can get to the canvas. One, if you're on the home screen, you can just click New Project at the top, and it'll take you to the canvas. Additionally, you can click these 3 little lines. I think they call it like a hamburger menu. My husband's laughing at me. A hamburger menu over here, and then you'll be able to navigate back and forth between this home screen and the canvas screen as well. So if you end up back here and you don't know how to get back to the canvas, just check that little menu there and you'll be able to get there, okay? I'm just gonna click on New Project. And it's gonna open up. Give it a second, all right. And here we are in Cricut Design Space. So a majority of our questions that we had asked were all about Cricut Design Space. And I do a lot of teaching on Design Space because I always tell people, like in my free workshops that I host, that your Cricut is actually not that hard to use. It's the software that you have to learn, because your Cricut will only take orders from Design Space, right? And if you don't know how to give the software orders that Cricut understands, then we don't know how to use our Cricut, right? So learning the software is the most intimidating part. And it's usually what stumps beginners up the most, which is why I'm going to cover as many of these questions as I can today, but also the upload process, which is the most important thing you need to know. So over here, this is called the design panel on the left-hand side where my mouse is moving. And if you look in the design panel, you will find an upload button. Now, if you're doing this on mobile, this is going to be arranged differently. So just know you still have access to the upload. It's just arranged differently. You're going to have to look at like the bottom of your screen on your phone, your tablet, and you're going to have to click through some of those actions there to find the upload button. It is there. It's just going to be laid out differently. So I'm going to click on the upload button here. And it's going to take me to a screen that's going to look something like this, but these are my designs. So you are not, of course, going to see my designs there. You're just going to probably see whatever you've uploaded, or if you haven't uploaded anything, there's not going to be anything there. This button right here where it says upload image is what you're going to need to click. And then you're going to get one more screen that looks like this. And you're going to click to browse your computer. You can also drag and drop, although I tend to caution beginners against dragging and dropping, because if you drag and drop the wrong file type or it's still in the zip folder, if you downloaded it as a zip, then it won't upload. So I always say browse because I feel like it's more straightforward that way. So I'm going to browse. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice already. Desktop is where we put it. So there we go. So Craftfest template, that's the folder we just created, right? And downloaded that Primrose SVG to. And I'm clicking there. Sorry, I'm really losing my voice. There is our SVG file. Now, let me say at this point, your file may not look like this, okay? It might look like a Chrome web icon. It might look like an Edge icon. It might look like an Earthlink icon. Something that's sort of web browser based, it might look like that. That doesn't mean it's not an SVG and you can't upload it. It might even say HTML. That's just your computer's way of labeling the file that it doesn't have a software installed to recognize that file. So it defaults it as an HTML label or a Chrome symbol or something like that, okay? You can still click on it and upload it to Design Space though, okay? So I know for beginners, that's like, mine doesn't look like yours. It doesn't say SVG. Don't worry, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just the way your computer is labeling that file. When you get a second, honey, can you get me some water? I'm afraid I'm gonna be hacking all over them the rest of the time. All right, so he's off to get me water, so hopefully I won't be continuing to cough throughout this entire thing. All right, so I'm gonna click on that file and I'm gonna click open. You're gonna get a preview here, okay? It's telling you it's a cut image, it gives you that preview, and then you're gonna wanna click on upload at the bottom. Now you can leave the image named as it is, it'll just be the file name. If you wanna give this a separate name, like something maybe you will remember more, then go ahead and rename that here, right under image name. I'm just gonna go ahead and click upload. And here now we have it under recent uploads, okay? So this is gonna be the easiest place to find it right away. If you're looking for past uploads that are no longer present under recent uploads, just click view all and you'll be able to scroll through and find them that way, okay? So if you upload a lot and you're like, oh, where do I go to find it? Just click the view all there and you'll be able to find all of that. You can also go up to my stuff and it'll show up there as well. So I'm gonna click on that and hit add to canvas at the bottom there. And give your computer a second in Design Space to load it up. Okay, there we go. All right, so here is our SVG cut file that we brought in. For the most part, SVGs are going to be the most predominant thing you're going to be downloading for your Cricut and this Craftfest in general. Excuse me for 1 second while I get a drink of water here. Okay, hopefully that will help. If not, we'll move on to cough drops. Okay, so here is our SVG that we brought in. Now, as you notice, when you bring it in, it's moving as one group, which is helpful in a lot of ways, because if we want to scale this, scaling as a group is best, because you want to be able to, change the proportions evenly and not end up, messing up, like the petal or the leaf is much more giant than the flower or whatever. So scaling as a group is always a good idea. I would say for the most part, files are going to come in as designers have saved them, okay? And you should not have to do a lot of scaling unless you wish to change it or they have specified that you need to scale accordingly, okay? So there may be specific instructions on that. Just listen to the workshop and what they tell you to do. For mine in general, you can just leave it as is here, or you can create different size flowers. So you may want to scale. For an example, let's say maybe I want to create a second flower. I'm going to right click and I'm going to duplicate this. And then with it selected, I'm going to come to any corner here, any single corner, hover until you see the mouse change to a double arrow, click and drag, and then you can scale it larger or smaller, okay? If you need to rotate something, same principle applies. Come to the corner, but hover right outside, and then you can rotate, okay? In this case, it's not really going to matter, but there may be projects where you need to know that, okay? So that's as easy as it is to scale up or down and to rotate. You can also type in dimensions up here at the top. As you can see, we have our dimensions marked here along the top of our selection, as well as here in the top of the edit bar, the top center. Any questions, babe?
There was just one that was, how can you tell the print size of the graphic, which you just sort of talked about with
the print size of the graphic. If you mean print size of the graphic as in like what it is once you upload it in Design Space, then yeah, you would just click on it and it's written right here with the selection or in the middle of the edit bar right at the very top of Design Space there. So hopefully that's what you meant by that. The next thing I want to show you real quick here is how to ungroup, because most people are like, well, how do I separate, layers if you want to pull it apart, right? So all you need to do, there's several ways to do the same thing in Design Space. There is an ungroup button right here at the top of the layers panel. The icon of this recently changed not long ago. And I don't like to reference it much anymore because I feel like if they keep changing the look of an icon, people get really confused. So I just recommend now that you right click and hit ungroup, because that's usually pretty consistent. So right click and ungroup. And now when we click back off, we can click on any one of these items individually now. So let's say for whatever reason, we want larger leaves. We want to keep the flower as it is, but we just want to scale this leaf up now. We can ungroup and we can select individually, just like that, okay? And then move things around as so. All right, so that in a nutshell is how we go from, downloading something on Google Drive, uploading to Design Space, scaling, ungrouping, and moving things around, okay? So those are some of the most basic principles you're gonna do with pretty much every file you bring in here, okay? You also wanna be aware of the layers panel over here to your far right-hand side. Anytime you select something on your canvas here, it's gonna show you that it's been selected. See how this one's highlighted green? So we know that's selected. If I were to click this little centerpiece, it's now selected over here. You can also make selections over here. So if you're having trouble clicking something on your screen over here, you can come over and you can select it in the layers panel. And you can see how it's doing that on my screen right now. It's selecting it, okay? Select as a group or select individual items that way. Do you have a question, babe?
Somebody's asking, you can't upload PDF Design Space, can you?
No, PDF is not one of the files supported because you need to be able to have either an image base or you need to have a vector base. Vector base is SVG. Now, there are ways of converting PDFs into one of those formats. That's a whole other into the weeds topic that I would just overwhelm everybody with if I showed now. You will need a different software for that. You'll need something like Inkscape, Illustrator, or export the PDF as an image and then convert it. One of those options would work for something like that. But in general, no, it's not going to be directly compatible. You would have to go through some conversion process to make that happen. I do have tutorials on making your own SVG files and stuff. I have an on-demand Magic of SVGs workshop, which I can tell you more about later, or someone can drop in the comments if they want, if you're interested in that. But that's kind of a whole other separate program and more into the weeds on some of that stuff. So yeah, okay. Anything else I need to address?
No.
Okay. All right. So I want to also show you, actually, before I do that, you need to know how to save your project. Might seem obvious to some, but we're not here to seem obvious to some. We're here to make sure beginners know what to do. So let's click on the save button at the top here. This is called the header. So you'll notice it says Canvas over here. Then it says Untitled, which that will change in just a moment. And then we have My Stuff, which is where you can find uploaded images, saved projects, all that stuff. And then you have your save button. So let's click on that and let's name this file. I'm just going to call it Primrose. And I'm going to click save. And there we go. Now it's saved to our stuff. And we can actually click on My Stuff now. And we see that our Primrose project is saved right there. And now to get back to that canvas, you can click that back button or go to that hamburger menu, click on Canvas. And now we're back to our canvas, just where we need to be, okay? So I just wanna make sure you know how to save your projects. Super helpful when you're uploading all these files during the craft fest. You wanna save them to come back to them later. So make sure you do that, okay? All right, so I'm gonna move on to uploading a image-based file, which is like a PNG or a JPEG. I want to show you that real quick because there is a few different steps, and I just wanna make sure no one is confused about that. I'm gonna go ahead and just delete this. Actually, I'm just gonna hide this. So another little tip for you, if you want to hide something on your canvas, you don't want to delete it from the project, but you don't want it to cut out, just come over to your layers panel, click the little eyeball tool that appears when you hover, and it will hide it, and you can bring it back at any time. But it will not cut out if you go to the cut screen. So that's super extra handy little note there. I use it all the time. All right, let's go back to that upload button. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to another speaker page because I want to show you again from the beginning. So we are going to take the lovely Michelle's example here. She did holographic print then cut stickers for her Craftfest project. These are super cute. I love them. Love making stickers with Cricut. So you'll notice that her page looks very much identical to the one I just showed you on my Primrose speaker page. So all the same principles apply. We got supply list here. You can click here to find those resources online, which takes you to that supply list page that I showed you earlier in our live here. And then also, I don't think I went all the way down on the other page. If you go all the way down, check out the little bio here about our speaker, has their headshot. It links to their website. So if someone is really resonating with you, make sure you follow them, guys. Follow them on their social media here. If you're on social media, join their email list, check out their blogs, save some of their projects. That is the goal of all of this, is to help you guys feel confident in your Cricut machine. And all of these Cricut pros here have amazing blogs and communities to help you with that. So if someone's teaching style is like, oh, that really makes sense to me and it resonates with me, make sure you check out below the video here where you can follow them, okay? Because that supports their business, allows them to continue to do what they do to help Cricut crafters, okay? Also at the very bottom here, I just want to note, on every speaker page at the bottom, there is a special offer down here. Sometimes it's an extra special discount. A lot of times it's an additional freebie. And they will talk about this in their video at the very end of the video, like the last 1 to 3 minutes. But if you want to get extra freebies and extra goodies or discounts, make sure you scroll all the way down for the speaker pages, because there's some extra good stuff happening down there, okay? There's lots of great freebies to pick up on these pages next week. So I'm going to click on that button, that same button again, just like before. It's going to open again in Google Drive. Here we have her worksheet. We have her supply list. She has the terms of use here, which you will notice in some of our speakers folders. So just review those in case you happen to be wanting to use these for some sort of resale purpose. Make sure you review those terms of use. And then we have our craft file, which is our PNG. You can see it says PNG here. That's image-based. So instead of SVG, which is a vector, meaning you can literally layer, like, layers of cardstock, layers of vinyl, whatever it might be, this is going to be a PNG file. Also behaves very much like a JPEG file, okay? So they're interchangeable. PNG is a higher quality image file, so I always recommend working with PNG when you can. You're going to download it the same way. So we'll right-click, we'll click download, and it happened to just go right back to that same folder again that we already created on our desktop. I'm going to save it. And then we're going to come back over to Design Space here. We're going to go right back to that same upload button over here to the left-hand side where it's called the Design Panel, but we're going to look for that upload button. And we're going to click Upload Image again. And we're going to browse our computer. And we're going to click over to that folder. Here is our PNG file that we just downloaded. Let's click Open. So here's where things look a little different than they did a minute ago when we did the SVG cut file. So now it's asking us a question. It wants us to select the image type. In 99.9% of cases, you always want to select complex, okay, if you're doing a print and cut project. If we don't select complex, it's going to strip away details. So if I select simple, and you can see the preview, see how all that changed and it looks completely different. We don't want that. We want the complex, which keeps it in its most original state, okay? And then we click continue at the bottom. Now this part here, this is just a Design Space functionality feature as far as if you're uploading an image that needs cleaning up, maybe you want to select the background to remove the background, you want to erase a part of the image. That's what this is here. Because we are working with these workshops next week and all of the folks teaching, all of our speakers teaching are pros, unless they're teaching a specific skill, there is going to be no need to prep any of the files unless they're teaching it for a purpose, okay? So you don't have to worry about this. Just hit apply and continue. Last question here. Do we want this to be a cut image or do we want this to be a print and cut image? It's pretty obvious that we do want it to be a print and cut image here, because if we select cut, we just get the circle. So cut is just the silhouette. That's all you're getting with it. You're not getting all these beautiful details and colors in here. So make sure you select print and cut. You can give it an additional name here, add it to a collection if you have collections, and then click upload. Any questions, honey?
Is the background remover only available with Cricut Access?
Yes and no. So there is ways to remove backgrounds without the automatic. So the automatic background remover is. So if I go back to, let me just show you that one more time real quick, since you're asking. Complex, continue. Okay, so this screen here, the automatic remover is in fact a Cricut Access subscription thing. These down here, manual and erase and restore, and even reducing colors, these are all available for free. So let's say, for example, I uploaded this project here and I wanted to get rid of like a white border that was going around. We could, you see how when I put my cursor over it here, it changes to like a little cross symbol. If we were to click that, here, let me just give you an example. I'm going to click the white sticker. There we go. You see how I just erased that white background from the sticker by selecting it? That's how it would behave if you're trying to remove a background. So there's still background removal options. It's just the automatic remover is a Cricut Access only thing. In my experience, the automatic remover can work well, but I have also had plenty of instances where the manual selection is so much easier because the automatic is like what Cricut thinks the file should look like, and that's completely dependent now on technology as far as it getting it right. And we all know that doesn't always work out. So I generally stick with the manual tools anyways. There is an undo button right up here, undo and redo. So I'm just going to undo that real quick and it'll take it back to its original state. Okay. So I'm just going to cancel this since we already brought this in and go back there. All right. So here is our recent upload, which is our print and cut sticker project here. I'm going to select that under recent uploads and hit add to canvas. And give it a second. All right. So a lot of times with image-based files, meaning PNG or JPEG, you are going to see them come in larger than what they should. That's normal. Sorry. I'm trying not to cough on you guys. All right. So we can see when we select this, it's 29 inches by 29 inches. We see this little exclamation point over on the far right-hand side on our layers panel here. And that's also telling us that this is not supported because the Cricut can't print and cut out. We can't print and cut out a 29-inch sticker. Most people probably wouldn't want to anyways. So in most cases, you're going to need to resize. So in this case, a lot of our speakers, if there is resizing, they're going to tell you or they're going to recommend sizes for you. It's a sticker. So, you know, I'm going to take it down. Maybe I want it to be a larger sticker, but I'm going to take it down to like maybe 5 inches or 4 inches. Still pretty big sticker, actually. Let's take it to maybe like 4, just over 4 inches there, or right at 4. There we go. So all I did was come to the corner and scale. You want specific dimensions, come right up here to the top of the edit bar and just type those specific dimensions in. Do note the little lock right here where my mouse is circling in the center of the screen at the top. The little lock icon here, if that is locked like it is now, it's going to hold those proportions. So if I type in 5, it's going to adjust it width and height proportionally. If I unlock this though, and I put say 7 in the width there, now it's going to stretch our image because we unlocked it. Okay, so it changed the proportions. So just take note of that in case you notice something like that happening to you. Check that that's either locked or unlocked accordingly to what you want to happen. So let me change this back to 5 and relock it. There we go. All right, so that's how you bring in a PNG image-based file. This also behaves similarly to JPEG as well, which is very similar. PNG is just a higher quality file compared to JPEG. So I'm going to take a pause here and look at any questions we currently have, and then I'm going to go into the questions that I wrote down that you all sent me before this, which is going to involve some other things here in Design Space, answering some of those questions. So do we have anything I need to address, babe?
So there's one question: when you download an image with fonts, do you get the fonts showing that are part of the image?
Download an image with fonts. So if you mean, like, do you mean like the font is in the image-based file? I mean, if it's in the file, like a font like this is in the file, then it's going to come in just like an image. If you're talking about actually installing a font on your computer, that is a different process. You would need to actually install that on your particular computer, and then it would appear in system fonts in Design Space. So I'm not quite sure which one of those you're asking me about. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. But if you're installing a font on your computer, when you download that font and you open it, it'll have an install button. You just click install. And then to find that font in Design Space, you would use the text tool here in the design panel, and you click on that, you type something out, or we could just leave it as text. You'd come to font here and you toggle over to system. That's where you would find your system fonts that you've installed. Okay. And Creative Fabrica, which is one of our sponsors, they have like a whole tutorial on how to install fonts on their site, super in depth for like cutting machine owners. I have one on my blog as well, abbykirstencollections.com. But if you need help with that, go search it on Creative Fabrica, even a Google search. It's very straightforward. And if that's what you're asking or anyone else is wondering. But once you install that font on your computer, close down Design Space, reopen it, grab that text tool right here, and then you'll see the font selection available. Toggle over to system, and anything you've installed, you'll find in here. You can also search by the font name if you have tons installed like I do, or you can even bookmark them so you can come back to them, find them under bookmarked. Okay, so I hope maybe that answered your question in some form. Any other questions, babe? Did you forget your glasses again?
Yeah. I was asking about a laser printer. Will that work with print and cut?
So I have used a laser printer for print and cut before, and it has worked. In general, Cricut recommends an inkjet printer. But like I said, I have done projects with a laser printer before, and it has worked. So I would advise you to at least try. If that's what you have, at least give it a try. If you're someone who doesn't have a printer, or you find that doesn't work, ask a family, a friend, go take, some things to print off at, see if you can print it off, at someone else's house or something like that, and then bring the prints back, have the project saved in Design Space, and then you can proceed with the project there, or just borrow a printer or something. Okay, so I'm going to jump into some questions here that we got, and I printed them out so I wouldn't be boring you guys with me toggling on my screen in my Google Docs. So I'm going to start with a question we had from Suzanne, and she says, I'm super excited for this event. I could use more help with slicing and offset. I'm not sure when or why I would use either. Okay, so it's a two-part question, slicing and offset. Slicing in a nutshell is taking two existing images and creating two or more new images from it. So I'm going to show you a super practical example of that. Let's take a shape from the shapes panel over here, and I'm going to just put a heart on my canvas. I'm going to scale up here, sort of to the top left of Design Space. If you want to change the color, click on that little swatch and you can change colors here. This is just representing the color. The only time the color is exact is if you're doing a print and cut, then it will print in that color. Otherwise, this is just representing your material color. Okay, so I'm just going to change this to like a blue, right? And I'm going to duplicate this. Right click, duplicate, scale down. And let me change this to a different color so you guys can see it better. Okay. So here I have two hearts. They're both basic cut operation, meaning I would cut this out in paper or vinyl or iron-on or faux leather or any of that. It would be a material that we would be cutting out. Let's say I want to actually slice out this yellow heart from this blue heart. That would be an example of how we could use the slice tool. So if I click and drag over these two, the slice tool at the bottom of the layers panel is illuminated, and I can click it and then pull apart the results. Now, this is a very simplistic, practical example. There is, to answer Suzanne's question, there is a lot of different situations in which you would want to use this. Perhaps you're clipping a family photo that you've uploaded to Design Space. Perhaps you want to clip that into the shape of a heart. You could use the slice tool for that. So there's a lot of different possibilities with the slice tool. But know in general, if you're wanting to alter the shape of 2 objects on your screen. It has to be just 2. It can't be groups of other things. You can overlap them and create a different result, okay? So that is what the slice tools function is essentially for. Now, for the offset, the second part of your question, offset is fabulous for stickers in general, if you're creating stickers, or you are maybe wanting to create an additional base layer to something. Let's say you're making a cupcake topper or a cake topper, and you have some sort of like script. Let me just type that out real quick so I'll give you an example. All right, so let's grab the text tool. I am going to type out happy birthday. Let's pretend it's a cake topper we're making here, okay? And let's change the font. With the font selected, the text selected, we have a font menu here, and I'm going to change the font. So I'm going to pick something random here. Let's pick this one. All right, so here is our happy birthday font. Now I'm going to go to, if I were to cut this out right now, it would be a little difficult to make as a cake topper, right? Because we have like the eye floating, the dot of the eye floating up here, and some of the letters are not connected. So that's a little difficult, right? So one example of the offset is to add an offset or even a couple offsets to this design. Maybe then we could cut it out in like paper and then layer it together. So with that selected, I'll click offset. Give it a second, and it's going to give you this preview. See how it has like the blue border going around there? If we want it to be thinner, maybe I want to take it down a bit. We can type that in that little box there, and we can shrink that down. In general, I recommend that you leave the corner at circle, not square. It's just, I don't think I've ever used the square. And then weld offsets, just leave that alone. What that means is it's going to be seamless in between these connecting points, basically. It's not going to create separate offsets kind of for each letter. So just leave that on there. Decide on the width of the distance of your offset. You can also do insets, so it goes the opposite way over here. So just play with that slider to get familiar with it. But for example's sake, I'm just going to click apply. Okay. Let me change that color here. Okay. So let's say now I wanted to cut out the blue layer in paper and cut out this gray layer in, let's say, iron-on vinyl, because if you didn't know, iron-on vinyl and cardstock are like peanut butter and jelly together. They work really well together. So I could make a cake topper like that, okay? So that's one example of how the offset can be super useful. Another way is, let's say we wanted to make this a sticker instead. So I added an offset around the words happy birthday, and maybe this is a sticker, and we want to click and drag and change it to a print and cut. So that would be the flatten tool down here, and that's getting more into the weeds of other stuff. But if we were to click the flatten tool, now it would print out in blue and gray on our printer, and it would cut around this blue offset. And that would be so much easier to have as a sticker versus trying to have a sticker that's cut out in just the dark gray that you're seeing here. Okay, that would be like, probably wouldn't even cut very well on the Cricut. So that's an example of the offset. So I hope that helps, Suzanne. Do we have any questions?
For the rest of the world that doesn't use the inches, everyone else uses the centimeters, you can adjust.
Oh, yes, you can adjust your settings. So if you go up to the little hamburger menu again, go down to settings. And here we have language options, and we have metric and imperial. So you can switch over to metric if you would like. And if that helps you, just do that there in settings and then close that out, and it will reflect here in Design Space for you. So yeah, you can absolutely change that. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next question from Kathy here. Kathy asks me, I'm just beginning, I'm a newbie here. What tools do you actually need to begin making Cricut crafts, printers, et cetera, she says. Okay, so that's a loaded question because, well, I've spent the last 7 years collecting an entire room full of stuff, and that's really based on what you're crafting at the time, okay? If I'm going to give general advice on that, I would ask a question back to you and say, what do you want to make? Are you all about paper crafts right now? And that's what you want to focus on? Are you more interested in learning how to do, iron-on crafts and make like t-shirts and totes and things like that? What are you most interested in? So let's say I asked Kathy that, and then she said, oh, I really want to make t-shirts. I would say, all right, you need to look at iron-on heat transfer vinyl as your material, or infusible ink. You need to look at t-shirts and totes and hats for blanks to put your designs onto. And you need to look at a heat press, like an easy press or an auto press, and then a heat-safe surface. You may also want some heat-safe tape. You'll need a weeding tool for your vinyl to weed it. So this question to be answered would be based on what you want to make. So first answer that, and then you'll know better what you need to get. I know in the world of Cricut, when you're a beginner, you're like, there's 10,000 things to make. What do I actually need? Start with what you're most interested in and want to learn. Find those particular, things. For like a paper crafter, it's a lot more simple. So there's less investment on the paper craft side, I will say that. You don't have to do like heat press and all of that. So you would just need some packs of paper. You need some Cricut mats. Across the board, you'll need Cricut mats. So that would be one thing I would say you absolutely need is you need some Cricut mats. You need weeding tool, like some of those basic things, very basic tools. But everything else is really going to be based on what do you want to craft. All right. Moving right along. Okay, so Elizabeth has a great question here. She says she remembers watching somewhere where you could work on 2 canvases at once in Design Space and toggle back and forth. And she wants to know how to do that again. Okay, so yeah, you can absolutely do that. It's something you're gonna have to do on a computer or a desktop, laptop situation. If you're someone who even has 2 computers and you want to do some sort of like dual monitoring thing, you could get really fancy. That would be my husband because he's all about the dual monitors. But what you can do in Design Space, she was also asking about copying and pasting between projects. Well, here we are. Let's go up to the very top left-hand side, and then you will see File, and then you can click New Window, okay? When we do that, it opens up a brand new window of Cricut Design Space. Give it just a second here. I have a good computer, but when you're streaming, sharing your screen, and you open multiple browsers and design software, the computer is like, whoa, it's a lot. So it drops us right back onto the home page. And we can click on New Project. And now we're back on the canvas. So what we can do here is, now I am on Mac, so this might vary slightly if you're on a PC. Down here in my my dock area, if I double click with 2 fingers, I can see both canvases now. Okay, so I can go back and forth between them. So let's say I want to go back to this one, and let's say I want to grab the Throw Kindness Around Like Confetti sticker. I could right click and I could copy, and then I could go back over to the one we just opened. I could right click and I could paste. And now we just copied that over into a fresh project. So maybe you were doing a bunch of designing in one canvas and now you want to separate them out and save them as separate projects. That could be an example. Another thing you can do is you can drag. So I'm dragging this window here, and I can actually come up here and shrink. Now it's going to affect the view of some things here, of course. But I'm going to shrink this for an example's sake here. So let's say if for whatever reason I want to have these 2 side by side temporarily, we could shrink the windows like that and kind of move back and forth between the 2. So I hope that helps answer your question, Elizabeth. All right, so we have Anne asking. Anne's asking a question about making her own SVG files and converting photos into SVGs for Design Space. So that's a really fun thing to do. I couldn't possibly give a tutorial on that right here because it would take us another hour and a half just on that. I do have a free on-demand workshop called The Magic of SVGs. And either my assistant Susan or my husband's going to be dropping it into the comments here in just a moment. If you want to learn how to do that, I have a free on-demand workshop. You can go and watch to learn that. I use Inkscape for it. You can also use Illustrator. I prefer to teach Inkscape because it's not quite as daunting as Illustrator, and it's a free open source software. So you're not committing to a monthly fee for Illustrator and stuff like that. But I do have a separate tutorial on that. Okay. let me go to the last few we have here. Faye asks me, where do you find instructions for projects that are in Design Space? Like, let's say, a shadow box craft. That's a really good question. So you might notice over here in the design panel that there's some different options. There's a projects tab here. And if you click on that, these are Design Space projects. So most of these are going to be Cricut Access projects. So you'd have to subscribe. There are some free ones as well, and you can filter things here by your projects, things you've saved, different categories by free. So let's take a free example here. If I click on any one of these, let's see if I just randomly pick something here. We'll take the little cute tiger bookmark. I'm going to click on this, and we see the finished bookmark information. They give us materials down here. There is some preparation instructions. Usually there is some form of preparation instructions, not always though, because if other people upload their own projects and share them with the community, they may or may not have those instructions. As far as video instructions go, that is very hit and miss. That's one of the things that we as creators do is we'll either make our own types of projects and share them, or we'll make things from Design Space and we'll share YouTube videos on how to assemble them. If it's something like, let's say a shadow box or a pop-up card and you're like, I need help knowing how to assemble this, try YouTube, because there are a lot of crafters out there who will do Design Space projects and they will show their assembly process. It's not a surefire thing that you're going to have the instructions in here, which is why bloggers like us do what we do, is share a lot of that. So Tina says, complete newbie here. My husband bought me a Maker 3 for Christmas. He's a keeper. Does Design Space have the same functionality using a tablet or a laptop? So in general, to answer that question, desktop Design Space versus mobile Design Space, there's a couple of specific sort of, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. There's a couple of things you'll need to know about that. So with desktop, that's going to be the best functionality. If you have a laptop or a desktop computer, I always recommend use that. You're going to have the most features available to you. The tutorials you're going to look at out there are generally always going to be from a desktop perspective, so you won't feel as lost. So I definitely recommend desktop if you can do it. Now, if you're someone who doesn't have desktop and you have, let's say, an iPhone or an iPad or even an Android, you're going to need to download that particular app on that device. When you open Design Space in the app for Design Space, you're going to get a lot of the same functionality in general. It's going to be located very differently though. So usually in a mobile device, you're going to have the design panel that's on the left here. It's going to be along the bottom. Let me see if I can even pull it up on here. I don't think I have it. I don't think I'm signed in. And it would be very hard to probably even show you guys on the screen. But to answer the question, yes, like you have a lot of the same functionality. The one thing you don't have is with Android mobile, they don't do print and cut yet. I don't know if that's something they're working on, but that is one functionality you do lose. And in general, I feel like it's just faster to work on a desktop with a mouse or a keypad than trying to, poke around on a screen. So if I look at the canvas, I don't know if you guys can even see this. Let me turn this off real quick. Stop sharing my screen for just a second. Okay, so I don't know how well you guys can see this, but here we go. So here is Design Space. There we go. Design Space on my phone. So see how a lot of these functions are along the bottom here. So that's where you're going to want to look. So if you're looking for the upload button, the text button, group, ungroup, that kind of stuff, look along the bottom. They're usually down there. And sometimes you have to click if you click on the actions, there's one that says actions at the bottom. Then there's going to be other sub options there, like to group, slice, attach, that kind of stuff. They're under a sub panel. So yes, was it Tina? There is some functionality difference, but in general, a lot of the tools are still very much present to be used.
To piggyback on that, mm-hmm. If you say something in desktop on Design Space in your computer, does it transfer when you go into Design Space in your mobile app?
That's a great question. So if you're working on here on a mobile device, make sure when you click save, let me find where the save button is. Right at the very top, there is a little save floppy disk. I love that we've evolved in technology so much, but the save icons are still floppy disks from like the 80s and 90s. Like that's hilarious to me. So look for the little floppy disk icon. It's super small. And when you click on that, you'll click save or save as, give it a name. So I'm just gonna say test. Then it's gonna ask you, do you want to save this to the cloud or to the iPhone? I'm using an iPhone. If you save it to the iPhone, it's only gonna open on this iPhone, okay? You need to save to the cloud. When you save to the cloud, it will open. If you're opening it up on desktop, you'll be able to find it. So let me just demonstrate that. I'm gonna click save to cloud, okay? It's just, I know, we got an error code. Hopefully Design Space isn't going to be a pain in the butt. Let's see. I'm getting the spinny wheel of death, right? Yeah. All right. I don't know if it's saving or not. I was going to try and see if I could pull it up on here to show you the difference. If Design Space is not acting weird, like mine is at the moment, when you save it to the cloud, you will be able to open it up and view it on your desktop later. Just make sure you're not saving it to your device only. Okay. Yep. It said save to the cloud. So let me go show you real quick. Go to my stuff. And there it is. There's that little text test project I just had on my phone a second ago, and it's now here in the cloud. So just make sure you do that, okay? Any questions? Yeah, I only have a couple more over here, and then I was gonna...
Not that I can see.
Okay, so Evie asks me, is there a way to create a shape or an existing shape so that the shape is temporarily anchored in the Design Space area? Okay, so I do believe I understand what you're asking there, Evie, and that would be a great feature for Design Space to have. In general, that might look like, let's say we're grabbing a, let's grab a square, and let's say I want to use this as some sort of like guide or base for something as I'm designing on top of it. I think what Evie is asking is there a way for me to basically keep this from not moving while I'm working on top of it? That's a functionality that is very common in graphic design softwares like Illustrator and Inkscape, where you're able to lock a layer and then work on top of that layer without doing any sort of adjusting to the layer that's locked. That is not something, unless there's some sort of workaround I am unaware of, that is easily done in Design Space. There's no functionality for that. That would be a great thing for Design Space to add, I think, would be the ability to lock layers. I could see them adding maybe like the eyeball tool over here. Maybe they could add a little lock icon tool over here where each layer could be locked on its own or something like that. That would be really cool. So no, technically it is not, but hopefully in the future it will be. And then Connie asks me, oh, sorry, not Connie, Corinne. Corinne asks me, how do you find someone on Design Space to follow? So to find someone on Design Space, there's a couple ways to do it. You should see a little bell icon on your screen. Even if no one has followed you, it might say no notifications or something like that. But you could, usually people will like randomly start following you if they don't know who you are. And then you can click into that and let's see. Ooh, property, sorry. Design Space is doing something on me it shouldn't be doing. Actually, let me just go over to, if I do the easier way to do it. The easier question is click on the hamburger icon, and I haven't actually been in community for a while. I think they may have moved the tab on me. So I need to find the answer to that question.
So
my stuff.
You're doing that. Somebody asked a question, because I've seen you sort of do it. Can you cut two different objects in the same design on two different Cricuts at the same time?
Say that again. I'm sorry, say that again.
So can you do, let me make sure I word it right.
Mm-hmm.
Can you cut two images on two different Cricuts at the same time?
Two images on two. Yes, you can. You just need to make sure that you're using two different tabs of Design Space. So when I just showed you a second ago where you go up to File and New Window, just make sure I do this all the time with, like, I have an Explore 3, I have a Maker 3. So let's say I'm cutting vinyl with my Maker 3, and that design is in one window. So if I was on this canvas here and I'm cutting out this square, and then I am, why is this not pulling for me? Oh, it's probably because I'm doing this. There we go. And then I'm on the other canvas, which I think I closed out. But if we're on the other canvas, the thing you need to do to make that work, the real answer to that question, is make sure, A, you have 2 different machines, B, that you're connected to that particular machine in that Cricut Design Space tab. So in this example here, you can see at the top header here towards the right, it says Maker 3. That is the machine selection I have, which means when I go to the cut screen, it's going to try and connect to my Maker 3 if it's powered on or plugged into my computer. So if you're in another Design Space tab, you've opened File, New Window, make sure you change this to, for my example, I have an Explore 3 over here. I would change it to Explore 3. I would connect in that tab. And then, yes, you could simultaneously be cutting on multiple Cricut machines at once. So yeah, I've done that when I've been kind of pressed for time on a project. So you can absolutely do that. You'll just need 2 machines, 2 tabs open, make sure you're connected to each machine in its own respective tab. Back to the other question of where to follow somebody. I think the way, I know there's something I'm missing here, but I think the way that I would suggest would be go to projects in all categories. And then there we go. That's where it was. Cricut Community. So if you go to Cricut Community, here's all these community projects that people have uploaded. A lot of them are Design Space projects that people have just made and are just showing them. Some of them are like bloggers like me or something like that, but you'll see their names here. So if we click on one of these, you can go to their profile and you can follow them. And if you want to follow me, then you can follow me at, I think there's supposed to be like a handle or something. I don't really know. I haven't done a whole lot with this. I won't lie. So I'm not the world's biggest expert on it, but I do have a Design Space profile. If you all would like to follow me, I have a few followers on there, and there's a few projects in there you can enjoy as well that are freebies. But to get to that, I would recommend just, let me see if I can actually, there's gotta be a way to search this. See, I need to learn more about this because the functionality I haven't really used that much. I'm so busy with other places. I don't know if you actually type in someone's name. Let me try that. And then we have one more question. Yeah, it doesn't work if I type my name in. I know there's a way to do it, but there is a way to share your, you know what, I'll just put my profile in the comments and we'll share it. That's usually the easiest way is to share your own. So if you're like wanting to follow someone, they'll probably share a link to it because it's not super like search friendly. So let me go back, not that, go over here and drop in the comment my Design Space landing page. There we go. Okay, you should see that in the comment in a minute. I just dropped it in there in case you want to follow me on Design Space. I'd love that. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about is cardstock. Okay, so my lovely assistant Susan, she suggested that I touch on cardstock more in this live because there's a lot of cardstock projects at the Craft Fest. I do a lot with cardstock myself, and I know there's a lot of pitfalls with ripping paper, material settings, and all of that. So I wanted to address that in this live to help folks going forward. Ironically enough, she just suggested this morning to me, but I filmed an entire how-to video on this yesterday, which will be out next week. So even if you don't come back and watch this, I have a much more in-depth video that will be going up on my YouTube channel next week. So go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribed and you'll see it then. So some of the basics with that, okay. There are, I'm actually gonna pull up my script from yesterday because it's gonna give you all those answers super, super easy. All righty. Okay, so there's a few different things to look at if your cardstock is tearing. First is your blade. Is your blade super old? And or does it have debris stuck around it? So how do we tell that? Let me just grab my blade real quick here. So in our machine, clamp B, you can pull out your Cricut fine point blade, which is what you use for paper craft projects, okay? Let me come over here so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so this is your fine point blade. This is the housing that holds the fine point blade on the top. If your blade is really old and you've used it for quite a while and you don't even know when the last time is you changed it, I would suggest going ahead and changing the blade. The easiest way to do that would be to push the button at the top here, and then you can pull it out. I recommend like a pair of like Cricut tweezers or something for safety. I'm very used to doing this, so I do it cautiously, but I usually pull my blade straight out. And then you drop a new one in and put it back in your machine. Another option is if you're like, okay, my blade's not that old. I think it just has some debris around it, or sometimes you can just usually see it and just brush it off. But let's say we just want to clean it extra well. Just grab a ball of tin foil, which I think I have over here still from filming yesterday. Yes, I do. I don't think I can get it out though.
You gonna get it for me?
Yeah. Well, wait. Oh, I did it. So if you have a ball of tin foil, this is good for cleaning. You may have heard that this sharpens your blade. It doesn't necessarily sharpen your blade. It might make it perform a little better because you're cleaning it off, but just hold the top button here and shove it in and out of the tin foil a few times to clean off any debris. I especially like to use this after I'm done cutting glitter cardstock, because even if I get all the big chunks of things off, there might be little tiny pieces of glitter on the blade that can actually affect cutting, especially for intricate projects. So just shove it in and out a few times and that'll help clean it, okay? So that's the first thing that I would recommend on cardstock troubleshooting. And then another thing is if your mat is not sticky enough, that can also cause problems. So if there's debris on your mat, or I think I have a mat, they're all hanging up. I actually cleaned my craft room up. If there's like debris on the mat, pet hair, you have 2 dogs, that's going to affect your cut. So make sure you are cleaning that mat with soap and water to re-sticky it. When you're not using it, save the liner that comes on it, place it back over so that it keeps pet dander and dust and stuff off of it. That will help your paper craft cuts perform better, because the mat is totally sticky, totally smooth. Also a brayer tool, super, super helpful for this. If you have never used a brayer tool, and if I'm confessing, I've crafted with a Cricut now for almost 12 years since I originally started, and I actually didn't really embrace the brayer tool until about 3 years ago. But now I never craft without it. So this pushes the material to the mat. So if your mat's like, okay, it's debris and dust free, but it's maybe well used, we want to press that material to the mat a little better, use your brayer tool. Works really well with vinyl as well. So not just cardstock, but vinyl also. Make sure you're using the right mat. Also, if you're using a lighter weight cardstock, use that light grip mat in general. You can use the standard grip as well. But in general, the blue grip is recommended for cardstock. The other thing is your paper type. What kind of paper are you using? If you're using a paper that's like textured, maybe super thin and metallic, like I have some papers that are like super thin and metallic and very flexible, those behave very differently when I cut certain things versus like a smooth cardstock like this. One of our sponsors, 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop, is amazing. I'm like obsessed with them ever since I found them, I don't know, maybe a year or 2 ago. They have so many different types of papers on there. They have smooth, they have texture, they have different paper weights as far as is it thicker or thinner. They have glitters, metallics, pearl shimmer, just endless stuff. So make sure you check them out. Go to that sponsor page, cricketcraftfest.com/sponsors. You'll find them there, and they have coupons. So if you're going to go buy paper, make sure you go there first to get your coupon. There's no point in spending extra if you can save, right? So go get those from our amazing sponsors, okay? So paper type is a real thing. The last thing that is sometimes the biggest factor is your material setting. When you first get started with Cricut, material settings can seem kind of overwhelming, and it can also be confusing to find what you might need for your particular project. So let me show you in Design Space how you can find exactly what setting you're going to want for your particular paper. Let me share my screen again with you. Okay, back there, and let's go to Canvas. Okay, I'm going to get all this off my canvas real quick. And I'm going to put I'm going to put an intricate style project, because usually if we're just cutting a circle, a square, something simple, most people don't have a problem with their paper, right? Because it's very simple. When you start cutting more intricate things, details, you're going to run into more problems generally. And that's where those other things I've already talked about are definitely things you want to check first. But I'm going to put an actual design on here. Let me put my rainbow design on. A good example. Here we go. I think it's this one. Oh, I uploaded more than one. This is what an account of a creator looks like, because we do like a million tests before we actually release it. I should delete some of these. All right, so I added that to Canvas, and here is my design. Okay, so as you can see, this rainbow mandala design here, this is one of my designs. If y'all like it and want it, go to members.abbykirstencollections.com, type in rainbow. It's there. Go to abbykirstencollections.com, the main blog, type in rainbow. You'll find it there as well. So you can see how intricate some of these pieces are here. First thing is your sizing. When you're dealing with certain intricate things, this is 11 inches, and I have it fully made here. I'll actually show you. I brought it out just for that reason. So here's what this looks like fully made. This is a little under 11, but it's what it looks like made. You can see here that if I were to shrink this super small, those tiny small pieces that are already small are going to be so small that the Cricut can't handle cutting it. I mean, the Cricut does a lot. It's an amazing machine. I love Cricut. But everything has its limitations, right? So what I recommend is first checking your size. I would never make something like this at like 3 or 4 inches. If I were to scale this thing down that much, just to give you like an idea, and this is funny, I'm sort of actually redoing the video I filmed yesterday because I'm sort of walking through all of it. Let's take like this piece here. You see those little tiny pieces in there? I'm going to come to like the contour function. Contour function lets you hide cut lines. So I'm going to actually hide all contours. I'm going to bring one of these back and then hide the main silhouette. And I'm going to close this out. Okay, so you see that little dot on my screen right there? And do you see how small it is? 0.05 by 0.05. Can you imagine needing to cut that out in paper? Like, that is teeny tiny. So think about sizing with intricate projects. That's the first thing I always tell people. That's super important. Now, the second thing is, in fact, your material settings. So let me show you that part, which is where we get the most success usually, is when we choose the right material settings. So let me zoom this back out. I'm going to scale this back up. There we go. Okay, I'm going to click the Make It button to go to the cut screen, okay? And is my machine on? My machine is on. There we go. All right, you'll get your first cut screen here. This cut screen here is just asking you, what material size are you using? How many project copies? I've never used this, honestly. If you have a Maker 3 or an Explore 3, you can cut without a mat. That is specific to that machine. I'm just going to leave the default as is and hit continue. I am connected via Bluetooth, but you can also plug into your computer as well. To connect via Bluetooth, you'll just need to go to your settings on your computer. And when you go to your settings on your computer, you'll just find Bluetooth and then make sure your machine is powered on and connect it. It'll come up there and you select it. Okay, so here's what our material screen looks like. Now I have bookmarked, used to be starred, they updated it to bookmarks. So I have bookmarked my favorite materials that I use the most. And that's what you're seeing here. So you may not see this. You might just see popular, which is, again, auto-populating based on what machine I have. So I have a Maker 3. You can see it's auto-populating a lot of smart materials because that works with the Maker 3. So yours might look a little different. Now, if you want to find a specific material, you're going to want to click the Browse All Materials settings, okay? You could go on for quite a while in here, but I usually just search at the top. So a good place to start with like cardstock and paper projects is plugging in the keyword cardstock first, and then coming back and plugging in the keyword paper to see all the different ones. So let me type in cardstock. All right, so here's all the different cardstock options that Cricut offers for material settings here. You can see there's quite a few. Now, my favorite, cardstock for intricate cuts, that's what you want to use for something like this, okay? this is something I would never cut on just a medium cardstock setting or a scrapbooking paper setting. I would never use that setting for something like this. You want to use cardstock for intricate cuts, because what the cardstock for intricate cuts does is it goes over each of these little intricate areas twice. So it's cutting with less pressure to not rip the paper, and then it's going over it a second time so that you still get the cut all the way through, but it's not going to rip the paper because it's going at a slower pace and less pressure. So if you're working with projects like this or this, like I'm just pulling random designs out, guys. There's so many other examples. So like this, always cardstock for intricate cuts. Because if you don't, here's the result before and after. It might be hard to see. You can see how tattered this is and shredded. And then here's the same thing on the same paper, but it's cut neatly. That's the difference between cardstock for intricate cuts versus not. So definitely always try that setting. And then also be aware of your type of paper. So if you're using a smooth, thicker, heavier weight cardstock, make sure you're selecting the heavier weight. So let's say I'm cutting out just something not as intricate, but I'm using a heavier weight cardstock. I might want to select the heavy cardstock setting here. Or if I'm using a lighter cardstock, there's light cardstock, there's medium cardstock. So select accordingly. It's also always wise to try and maybe cut out, test cuts if you can do it. You're not going to get the same results though if you're test cutting a certain material and then you're using an entirely different design when you go to cut out that material. So what I mean is if you go to cut just a circle as a test cut, it might cut just fine. But if I go and try and cut out, all these details in this heart here, that is probably going to have a very different result. So you may want to do like a smaller version of this, or just do one layer as a test cut initially on paper that maybe in a color that maybe you don't plan to use or something like that, to just try it out, to try and save waste. That would be my recommendation for that. So just pay attention to your paper, your material settings. Those are the biggest factors usually, outside of things like your mat, your blade, and that kind of stuff. And of course, quality and brand of papers as well. 12 by 12 cardstock shop is great. And then I also shop at Michael's Craft Store too. They have their Recollections brand there as well. That's a local option if you need to like run out to get some for the event. So do we have any other questions at this point? I hope I covered that correctly.
Nope. That's what I'm seeing.
Not what you're seeing. All right. Well, let's see. All right. I would love to know, actually, you know what? I want to do a couple of giveaways. I wasn't sure if I was going to fit this in, but let me stop sharing my screen real quick here. And we'll remove that. Okay. So we obviously have lots of stuff happening on the giveaway page at cricketcraftfest.com/giveaways. There's tons of stuff there. So those giveaways are going on until the end of the event next week. You can go enter. You can only enter once, but if your husband, your wife, your son, daughter, brother, sister, you want them to enter for you, go ahead and have them go enter for that as well, so you can get more entries in. I have accumulated some giveaway items that I intended to use for my last Craft Fest, and we had so many speakers and sponsors step up to do giveaways that there was like literally almost no room to fit it in. There was just so much coming at people already. So I thought, okay, maybe on a live, we'll just start randomly picking some people who've participated in the comments. Here, bring it over here, babe. Did you say I had a mug press out in the garage? Yeah. Okay. Well, even if I don't, I will buy one and do a giveaway. Okie dokie. So I have an Easy Press Mini, and I also have a big pack of cardstock and a bunch of colors, brayer tool, a essential toolkit. So that question one of our people were asking, what essential tools do you need? This is a good one to start with. So it's got like the Cricut scraper, the spatula, the tweezers, the weeding tool, the straight cutter. This is a good one to start with. So I'm going to pick, I think we have enough for at least probably 4 prizes here, because we have the mug press out in the garage too. So, and all these have been unopened, guys. I'm just storing them in my house for like random giveaway days like this. So do you want to ask if Ella wants to help pick, or do you just want to randomly pick, honey?
She's busy.
Okay, so my husband, he has been monitoring and answering questions. He's going to randomly pick someone for the Easy Press Mini. Now, oh, yes, I have a mat. I have a mat for this too. Let me get that out so you guys can see it. I have a mat. We're going to just randomly pick some people here. Oh, excuse me. All right, so Easy Press Mini, which I use this more than anything. If I'm not making shirts, this is so amazing. Remember I said cardstock and iron-on vinyl are BFFs? They really are. So I have some tutorials that on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. But Easy Press Mini is great for that, okay? And I also have the mat that goes with it. So have you picked somebody? My husband's just randomly scrolling and picking, guys. We're not doing any serious rhyme or reason to this. We're just picking.
Sandy D.
Sandy, say that again.
Sandy D.
Sandy D. Sandy D. Congratulations, Sandy D. We're choosing you for the Mighty Butt Mini, Easy Press Mini, and that. If I call your name out for any of these prizes, we're going to reply to your comment. And once you are aware that we picked you, send us a message at hello@abbykirstencollections.com with your shipping address, and we will send it to you. I'm going to cover international shipping for this too. So if you're international, comment, play away. I'm going to cover the shipping for that. Okay. So Easy Press Mini to Sonda D. Did I say that right? Sonda,
Yeah.
Sonda. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Say what, Ben?
I should write this down.
Yeah, write it down. But we can go back and look at the comments too. Okay, so let's pick somebody for. Hang on, I'm going down again. Okay, I have a big bin over here. I'm gonna pick somebody for the brayer tool and the toolkit, the essential toolkit. Okay, so we're gonna randomly look in the comments. I'm scrolling. Wow, you guys. Lots of comments. I think this has been our biggest live ever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this has been our biggest live.
A lot.
Wow. Okay, I'm trying to go through these comments here, but there's so many. Oh, I see another question we didn't get answered. What is the difference between the fine point blade and the premium fine point blade? Do we need to answer that? Did we get to that? Did we?
The group answered that.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's make sure I wasn't ignoring anybody. Okay, randomly picking someone here.
All right.
Did you find someone?
Yeah, Linda worked.
Linda worked. Yay, Linda. Okay, you are the owner of the brayer tool and the essential toolkit set. Congratulations. We're going to reply to your comment. Send us a message at hello@abbykirstencollections.com with your shipping info. We will send it out to you. Congratulations. And let me see what else I have here. Okay, I have more than I thought. This is fun. Okay. So I have tons of paper packs, glitter, metallics, regular cardstock, and hang on. Oh, okay. I also have pens and a weeding set. So we're going to pick someone for the paper packs, the pens, and the weeding set. Okay. So let's randomly pick. You're on picking duty.
Okay.
I'm the model.
That one there?
Yep.
It's like Andrew Borax.
All right. Congratulations, Andrew. You are the winner of this. Oh no, there's 30 Cricut gel pens in here, plus what's this one? This is the multifunctional black pen set. So this is really handy. And then our weeding tool kit here from Cricut, as well as, don't worry, we'll get it all to you in one piece. The real danger is if my dogs are around, they're not around, so don't worry. And then all of these papers I'm also going to include in that. Okay, so they're upside down, but they're glitters, they're cardstocks, metallics, lots of papers. Okay, super fun. I got that set aside for you, Andrew. Okay, and then we have, I don't have it in here, it's down in another room, but I have a mug press. So I'm going to do that also. As our last giveaway here. So do you want to scroll through and just randomly pick someone for our last one for the mug press?
Sure. Let's see. I didn't tell the people today. Comments are going so fast.
I know. I was like trying to scroll down and the comments were going so fast I couldn't literally like get through all of them. Oh my gosh. I wish I could give something to every single one of you. Seriously, I really do. You guys are all so sweet. Thank you for participating.
Carol Bayer.
Carol Bayer.
Bear.
Carol Bayer, you are going to be the winner of our Cricut mug press. Please reach out to hello@abikirstencollections.com and we will organize that to get it shipped out to you. There are so many people like, should we do some VIP pass giveaways? I think we should just do that now. I usually wait to the end of the event, but I think I want to just do some VIP pass giveaways.
Okay,
He's taking notes. I think we're going to do VIP pass giveaways too. Even if you already own the VIP pass and we choose you, we will refund you for that. So we're going to pick, how many people you want to pick?
Oh, well, we have 450 people.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, you guys are awesome for sticking with me this long. I really hope this has been helpful for you all too. Like, I really try to make sure I cover the basics for newbies. If you like my teaching style, guys, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really appreciate that. And, you know, follow me on abikirstencollections.com. I have lots of tutorials on there. Okay, I think, what are you doing? How many do you want to pick? 5 people maybe?
Sure.
Let's pick 5. Yeah, let's pick 5 people. And there's so many people on here. I got to do more than one. So we'll pick 5 people.
All right, Christy-Ann Sinclair.
Christy-Ann St. Clair, you're the winner of a VIP access pass for the February 2023 Craft Fest. Congratulations. We will get that set up for you. Please email us again at hello@abikirstencollections.com and we will get an account set up for you. If you've already purchased, we will refund you and it'll be still a gift for you. So, okay. All right. That's 1 out of 4. Oh my, I haven't even gotten to the bottom of the comments yet.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
seriously.
scroll. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for all your participation. You're all so sweet. All right. I'm going to leave it up to you, babe, because I literally can't even like, I can't even see like, oh wait, hang on. I finally reached it. Hang on. Let's see.
I got a name.
Okay. You say the next name. I'll pick one then.
Nadia Carvajal.
Mm.
Carvajal.
Nadia Carbajal.
I'm going to guess.
Carvajal. I'm sorry for butchering your name. Nadia, you know who you are because we're butchering your name. You are the winner of one of our Cricut Craftfest VIP access passes. All right, let's see. I think. Oh my goodness, I have a name and then it jumps and I can't I can't find it. Oh, hang on, wait. I think I found the person I had randomly picked. Let me find it. Nope, I didn't. It's moving too fast.
It really is.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. Oh, okay, I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm really not good with this. Angie and Andrade and ANDRADE. I'm terrible at pronouncing names, guys. It is
That's Andre.
Andre. Thank you, Angie Andre. I'm gonna pick you because you gave me a cute hand pinky wave emoji. So I like that. Oh, is that 3 or 4? I have lost
3.
3. 2 more people. Okay, 2 more people. There's so many people. Oh my gosh. Okay, I like this one. Susan Smith, she's giving us a big warm thank you for the presentation. You're so welcome, Susan. You are now a winner of the VIP access pass. I'm so glad that we're able to help you.
Who
Please,
was it?
Susan Smith. Susan Smith, congratulations, Susan.
And then the last name is, for the last giveaway, Beverly Howell.
Beverly Howell. Beverly Howell, you are the final VIP access winner here. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. You guys have been awesome on this. If you have other questions too and you're catching this on a replay, guys, feel free to post them. Okay, I will come back. I will check the comments. I'm happy to help. If you have other questions, please send us a message. We're happy to help you as well. I really hope that you guys are going to love the Craft Fest next week. If you haven't gotten that VIP pass yet and you're on the fence, go grab it before the price goes up, guys. I've lost count of how many people who even got. We have 52,000 people register for this event, guys. It's been amazing. I think we've sold 7,000 passes, 8,000. I don't even know how many we've sold. I've lost count. But 52,000 people registered for the event. That's incredible. We have so much good feedback on that. So, and things that we can also learn to improve on in the future. Thank you guys for joining me today. This has been incredible for everyone who won our prize. My husband took notes. So we have not forgotten you. We took notes. We're going to, if you reach out to us, let me put this on my screen real quick. Example banner. Nope. I was going to see if I could show create banner. Let me put the email address up here real quick. That way you know. And if you have questions, then you can also see that. Okay. Show hello at abbykirstencollections.com. That's the email you want to reach out to. Okay.
And a link to the VIP pass.
A link to the VIP pass. Yes. No, why?
There were some people asking because of the tripwire for the $39.
Oh, yeah.
You can put that link in.
So the you can, if you have questions about that, like you had some sort of technical issue on the end for the wanting the $39 tripwire, you can reach out to us at the email there and we can assist you. But otherwise, after that first 30 minutes, it's the 47 here. So we'll just drop that link in. You got it? Okay. We'll drop that link in there and you can grab that. And it gets you access to every video you're going to see this week. It gets you access to all the templates, the worksheets, the transcripts. We have captions on all the videos already for this week, but there will also be captions in the VIP pass. And it gets you access to $500. Actually, it's closer to $800. I say over 500. It's closer to $800 worth of bonuses, memberships, mini courses, ebooks, like so much extra stuff in those bonus sections. So yeah, this is so exciting. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Now I do monthly lives. So if you guys enjoy this, I do monthly lives on my YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and come back to this. I have a freebie vault. If you're not a part of the Abby Kirsten Collections community, go ahead and go to, they'll probably drop it in the comments now, members.abbykirstencollections.com. We actually just pushed a new version of this website 2 days ago. And you can actually browse all of our freebies and our additional premium options there. And you don't have to be logged in to browse now. So you can actually just peruse around and check it out. So go and check that out if you want some of those freebies. You can join the community with your email, get freebies. And then if you want our premiums also, $9, you can get all the premiums. But at the end of the day, premium or not, we do monthly lives and I post regularly on my YouTube channel as well for free tutorials. There's lots of stuff already on there. So we do lots of monthly lives, a monthly live every month, and we love to help people on that. So make sure you check back so that we can have another amazing day like this. We also do lots of giveaways on those lives and something I want to do more of, especially since y'all are so supportive and sweet. So thank you guys so much. I really hope this has been helpful. If you have further questions, let us know. And we're going to be kicking things off 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday for our third Cricut Craftfest event. Super, super exciting. I really hope you guys are able to just learn so much and start crafting with confidence. That's the goal here, right? All right. Well, thank you to you all. Thank you to my husband for monitoring comments. Thank you to Susan for all of her hard work. She's in the help desk all the time helping you guys. And thank you to Shannon. She's my other customer service inbox fairy. Thank you guys so much for all of your help and support from all of our speakers as well. Thank you guys for participating and sharing about this. All right. So we will see you guys on Monday and we'll see you at the next live as well. Okay. Bye. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, guys.